But what happened to me in that race, I went too fast for 16, 17, 18, 19. I got to the bottle at 30K at 18.6, so right at the tail end of that thing, I'm like, I gotta drink this, but I can't. It's in knots. We had a big gap. JB had already stopped. Like, he's like, hey, good luck, go get them or whatever, I'll see you on the track. And I'm staring at it going like, I gotta get this power gel down. Like, I gotta get this thing down. And honestly, I took like 2 sips and I'm like, I can't. And I chucked it. And it was fine had I just been running the marathon. But you have another 5 to go after 26, and I got on the track and it was like the legs started to do the thing, and I'm like,
on the track I didn't see you taking. Were you taking?
There was a table on the far side, and then I just kept grabbing it. I held it for the back stretch and then home stretch rather, and then would toss it on the ground and someone would put it back. But at that point I knew I was screwed, and like you can't go back and refuel. Undo the thing.
That's what Chicago was like for me. I was like, I know it's too late. Like, I can't put it back now.
You can't. Yeah. And that's the difference with the car. It's like, the car, you get down below the quarter, the light comes on, and you fill it up, and then you're good.
Yeah.
You have to fuel along the way.
Yeah.
You do. And that's Des Davila, American record on the Boston course, 2:22, Olympian, just was 5th in Berlin. She's like, I'll front load my whole marathon with, like she does the Perform, the electrolyte or whatever, and she's like, I'll take that, I'll make my earlier one stronger, because I know I can get it in, I'm more relaxed, everything's good, just to get it in, and then after, it's like,
still trickle feeding
it's still there, yeah, but they're not as strong. Me, I'm a gel all the way, and then at 30K on, every 30, 35, and 40 is kind of, if you're at 50K it matters, but marathon, it's like, it's kind of, you can take it or leave it, you just kind of see. But like,
do you actually have something at 40?
I will, just in case for backup. I mean, it's like, what's it gonna hurt? You just kind of like throw it out there, and just in case, like if someone knocked over my 35K bottle or something, and I got to that point and I was like, Lord, like help, like I'm gonna like collapse on the road, because you don't know how it's all gonna play out. So yeah, always take it, and then it's every 5K. You just got to do it, and it's a thing. I mean, hindsight's 20/20. It was only my second 50K, but I'm like, if I could go back. Well, I also pooped at mile 14, which wasn't ideal.
Really?
Yeah. And I learned. I started working with a nutritionist after that, and he tweeted. I mean, it was like a full overhaul of my diet, and like before the trials, and
did you PR in the trials?
I did, by a second. And but that's the race that I hurt my left foot in at mile 8. It was like a partial plantar fascia tear. It was diagnosed like way after the fact, but it swelled up, and like, but the trials are one of those things. That's a race. You run that. You go there to finish. You don't go there to start. And when you look back, me knowing now that that was my 4th one, and you start to get some perspective as you become old. It's like you look back and you're like, you forget a lot of these races in times and things, but the trials, it's like, no, I know, no, you don't, because it's once every 4 years. So it's a thing. I knew, like, this is, I'm gonna finish this come hell or high water. Like, you do it.
On one leg if you have to.
Yeah, and even if I'm gonna walk or whatever, I'm gonna finish, because I put too much into this not to. So it was one of those races where super disappointing, because I was really, really fit going in, fittest I've ever been, and it's like, it sounds like hyperbole and all that, and yeah, sure, everyone, but honestly, like, I was as lean as I'd ever been, as fit as I'd ever been, and it was just, I was on that razor's edge, and I went off the edge, and so, balance, but all that to say, it's like, you learn every race you run, try and learn something from it, and it's even your Chicago experience, like, you do that, you take that, and dude, I ran 2:28, like, doing everything you're not supposed to do. You know, like it's still like.
Well, and then I felt like I did a training run. The last 6 were like, you know, pedestrian. So I was like, the next day I was like, I felt great running. I haven't taken a day off since, so I'm doing CIM.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, my tempos have been like 10 seconds faster.
Yeah.
And so here's a question: like last weekend I did a 10-mile race pace, right? And I ended up doing 5:16.
Yeah.
And then warm up and cool down. And then later the same day, another 5 and 5:11 pace.
That's great.
What do you think about approaching your next race? Like how to set that new like goal marathon pace? You know, because like my goal marathon pace before was like 5:30, 5:25, 5:30.
Yeah.
You know, I'm running tempos at 5:15, but it's like that still feels too fast.
Yeah.
I mean, so I'm just kind of like, do I try to go for the one that I didn't hit before, even though my fitness is a little bit better? Or do you just always go into it like trying to squeeze the most out of your fitness? Like how much do you hold back compared to?
It depends on the race. Yeah. I mean, it's normally you go into the thing and you go, the fastest way for me to get to the finish line is to run really, really slow.
Yeah.
And like, I go to the trials and it's like, okay, we had this plan going in, but it was super windy because we warmed up, and then we get out there and I knew that Ryan was going to take it out hard after talking to him a little bit, and I was like, I either need to be in that pack or for sure in the second group.
Yeah.
And like, because it's just too windy. I mean, you could, and our plan was, let's just run 5-minute miles. Let's 2:11:05, let's do that through the half, and then let's see how it goes. But, dude, everyone goes, and the goal on that day is not a time.
Yeah.
At least for 15, 20 of us.
Top 3, right?
It's top 3. And so you go, this day is not about running a
whatever split.
Right, it's about trying to get on the team. And you can make arguments on both sides and go, well, still, like, if you go 5-minute pace and you can bank that 2:10:45 or whatever is going to make the team or whatever, then, well, yeah, if I knew that going in, then you pick that 3rd place split and you just nail that thing. But the reality is, like, dude, we go out and we're running 2:08 pace or whatever, and they're running 2:06, and you're just going like, well, I know the guys in the front group. Like, I train with half of them, and they might not come back. This might be it. This might be it. And so you have a whole bunch of guys. I mean, I finished 13th or 14th. I finished 14th, and the thing, and it's a thing where looking back, you go, well, yeah, like 10 guys past me that were like running 5-minute pace or whatever, and like you look back and you're like, oh, that would have been perfect to be in or whatever.
Right,
and then maybe the thing doesn't happen with the foot because it happened on a 180 on the course. And it's too much torque, and you start like. But it's that hindsight.
But maybe not. Maybe you would have died anyway. When that backpack had been like
totally. And then you're like, I'm not even in it. I'm not. There's like 0% chance, and I gotta run this other loop and whatever. And maybe I live to fight another day.
And you were what, 2 minutes within the first place? You need a big 2:11 to. What were you?
2:13. And
they're 2:09. What were they?
I want to say that, it was like 2:09, 2:10. I think, I want to say.
You're right there. I mean, it's just crazy that you're all that close.
Yeah, and I mean, everyone slowed down except for the people that ran smart. I mean, but maybe.
But they weren't even in contention necessarily.
Ever. So, and no fault to them. I mean, you know, you run, it's good for sponsors. Hey, I was top 10 at the trials. Like,